Oats, what is oats? It's old people learning technology. I said, I don't want to be around old people. I know what it's like. So what's the other thing? She said, that's where you go to talk. Aha, I can talk, so let me join. From the first meeting I went to, I signed up and I've been on a roller coaster of happiness. Not only have I learned speaking techniques, I've learned what being a club officer is like. I've also learned networking. I've learned to moderate. I moderate 3 rooms on Clubhouse. I have a podcast. These are all things I would not have learned had I not joined Toastmaster. I even got to learn something my kids are not familiar with. All my children are adults. My baby is mid-30s. They know nothing about Google. I learned Google Docs, Google Sheet, Google whatever. I said, oh, Google, Google, Google. It is fantastic, but I will share 3 things with you that helped me. The first thing I learned was, or that I would share with you, is overcoming your fear. And I use the acronym for fear. F, for me, used to be face everything and run. I didn't have any confidence that I can do it. I flipped it around, and now for me, that's face everything and rise. Because my journey has me rising from level to level to level. And that is something I'm excited about. The second thing that worked for me is faith, having faith. And every time I think about that, I said, you know, if I didn't have the faith to believe, what if the Walton family, the richest family in America that owns Walmart, what if their predecessor did not have the faith to believe everybody has a store? Why can't I open a store where you can get everything at one stop, but at a cheaper price? Where would they be today? Their estimate value today is something like 247 billion with a B dollars. And it's all because of faith and their belief. My third thing that worked for me is believing. Believe in myself. Believe that something can be done. Believe that if I think I can do it or somebody else did it, then I too can do it. I like quotes a lot. Rupert Murdoch, who is also a billionaire here in America, he had the saying that, thank you. He had the saying that possibility is not only for those at the top, but for everyone. And it's true. If you believe and you have the possibility that it can happen, it will happen. It's just a mindset. Once you have that positive mindset and you believe in yourself, then you are fine. And my other quote, you see, I like quotes, is by Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela said, it always seemed impossible until it becomes possible. So the impossibility can become possible. Look at the Wright brothers. What did they do? Look at Tesla. Who would have thought? My grandparents would never have thought we'll have a self-driving car. Oh, wow, not today in this generation. So the 3 things I'd like to leave with you is that we could always, like they say in Hollywood, snip it and flip it. Snip the negative, stay with the positive. Get rid of your fear. Make sure you believe that you can do it and activate your faith. Thank you.
Thank you. Took me a minute to unmute. Thank you. Would anyone like to give Eula some warm, appreciation and feedback for her time that she took to speak with us today?
Thank you very much, Eula, for sharing your, story, taking the time for us. Thank you.
You are welcome. You know, our stories are not just for ourselves. Each of us have a story. It doesn't matter what it's about, but our story is always for somebody else. Someone is waiting to hear your story. So never, ever be afraid to just open your mouth and speak. It may seem trivial to you, and it could be so important to somebody else. So I encourage each of you, you can do it. Just enjoy the ride as you're going. And we do make mistakes, and that's the beauty of life, because if we don't make mistakes, we never learn. We never discourage a baby when they're learning to walk. They fall down and we're like, okay, baby, you can do it. Get up, try it again. We're still babies. We can do the same thing, just it's the mindset. But thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you again. We're going to move into icebreakers. Eula, you're welcome to stay with us as long as you like, or you drop off if you want as well. Teresa, you ready? All right. So Teresa's going to be our first speaker, followed by Helpina, and then David. Okay, that's the order. And so again, 3 to 5 minutes. You'll get the green at 3, you'll get the yellow at 4, and the red at 5. Therese, take it away.
Hi there. Eula, that was beautiful. I think faith guides all of us, and I really appreciate it. And I think, you know, all of the topics that we pick here are really, really making me feel connected to how each can share our story and feel more and learn more about each other quite easily. And I feel like my story begins about when I was 25. You know, I came to New York City. I love this place. I fell in love with it watching Sesame Street. And it's weird, you know, because I come from car culture. We mostly sit in front of the TV. You know, you go to the mall to see your friends. You see them at school, and that's it. Or if you have a neighbor, they're pretty far away. They're so in New Mexico, it's a little bit harder to connect. And so I got to New York City, and about 2 years of working in city service, I won an award. And that was, you know, that was my first chance to speak in front of a lot of people who I didn't know. And I was choked up and I was scared and I didn't know what to say. And I sat through, like I'm sitting through listening to all of you. I got to listen to all these other people that received award. And because I was a rookie, I was at the end of the line. So mine was going to be the last speech. And I was like, oh gosh, that's a lot of pressure. So I hear from you, you know, like what it was like to be 25, fearing about, you know, driving too fast and getting into accidents. And I think accidents have defined my life. At 11, I got into a car accident that changed my abilities. It changed my focus. It changed my my dreams, because I had to really bring things within reach. I could no longer say that my physical limits were boundless. I had to really bring my scope back to somewhere I could achieve. And I got really good at that, because at 11, I had bad back pain, bad neck pain, all of these things to deal with as a teenager that really kept me at bay from having those kind of reckless and, I guess, immortal kind of behavior that kids have that's very dangerous. And I agree with that. And I have 2 boys now. And as a mother, you know, I'm somebody who worries about all that stuff all the time. Like, how am I going to get my kids to realize that they can really kill themselves? Because even at 3 and 5 right now, daily, they're trying to do that. And I'm stressed out trying to keep them from doing so. So, you know, I was sitting there at that speech, you know, at 25, and I was freaking out, then listening to all these awesome people and how everybody would be leaving the office and that person would still be there, and they'd be the one to turn out the light every day and lock the door. And sorry, I'm getting a message on my phone. And they'd be the person that would always, you know, like if somebody forgot something, they could call that person and get back in the building. And they knew that person was working way too hard. And I'm that person too. So I really like what their stories really resonated with me. And I could see how their hard work really paid off. And so me being thanked at such early part of my career, I was like, wow, this is really nice. I'm in the leagues of all these really awesome people. And so, you know, I looked at it and I thought about what to say. I got up in front of them and I said, hi, my name is Therese Flores, and I'm a workaholic. And everybody died laughing, and I really loved it. And I felt like everybody was embracing me. And I knew everybody wanted to get out of that room. We'd obviously been there too long, and they were all kind of getting ready to go get the drinks bar and eat food. So I really understood my audience at that moment. And I felt like, okay, I can finish this up real quick. Thank you, boss, for putting me up for this word. Thank you, commissioner. Thank you, everybody I've met. Hey, let's go get drinks, you know? And so that's where I felt like I really could do this. I can really talk to people. So, you know, I've lost sense of that efficiency with talking, because now I just talk a lot. And I realize that I'm hitting the yellow mark. So I'm going to try and wrap it up. Motherhood has made me efficient. It's really become the way that I lose worry. I don't have time to worry. I take risks because I have to. There's no other choice. My boss is calling me. I've got to change a diaper and feed somebody before they throw a fit and break something. I've just got to make a choice. So it's been easier to grow and become the person who can take risks and become a manager that I am now, and still be a workaholic. So thank you.
Thank you, Therese. Thank you. I'm just going to record your time, and let's move to Hopina. Hopina, you ready?
Yes, I am.
So now, Hopina, we can't see you. We see a blue screen. If you want to share yourself, there you go.
Wait a minute. I
Now
broke
we can see
something.
you.
Okay, something fell off. Something broke. Okay, good. Are you seeing me now?
Yes.
Yes. Hi. Hi, fellow Toastmasters. How is everyone?
Good.
All right. It is really a joy to talk with you, to share my story this evening, because I remember there is an old saying that even the dull and the ignorant, they have their story. All you got to do is listen. My name is Hopina Samuel, and I hail from St. Vincent in the West Indies. My name means hope. It was given to me by my midwife, who her thought was that I would live and others would live after me. So true. She was so true that after me, 7 lived after me. And then she also prophesied that I will be a nurse midwife. And she was also right. I also am a nurse midwife. I'm the oldest of 8, as I told you. I'm the first to go to college, first to get married, of course, first to move out the house. And then I migrated to Clash of Cultures in the United States. It wasn't so easy with this thick accent. However, I remember doing my first presentation, and I said, how am I going to wing this? Would they understand me? So my first thing was, I have an accent. If I say anything that you don't understand me, just raise your hand and say it again. I use a choice of words. Everybody was so excited. They clapped and they shared. I felt comfortable. So from then, I've been talking and can't stop talking. During the presentation, I was wondering what to share and how much to share. But many times it's not what you want to share, is what is going to bring help to somebody, help and healing to somebody else. And at my home where I was raised with both parents, they focus on family, they focus on education, they focus on faith, that you have to celebrate one another. And even in my own life, the people who I work with, I encourage them that we have to celebrate one another. So like at my workplace, my previous assignment before the one I presently have, would celebrate one another's birthday. That cut down on a lot of sick calls. So if it was your birthday on Saturday, we say, oh, okay, I'm going to bring the cake, you're going to bring the rice. And that cut down on sick calls. And that did a great thing for us. I'm getting ready to come to the end of my career. And as I'm doing this course, I'm wondering what else is in store for me, What else can I do? I can't wait to see what is in store for me as I'm doing this course with Toastmaster. And as I heard Eula said, how she is so happy. I'm adding this on to my to-do list as I'm getting ready to retire. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Hopina. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
David, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Go
Great.
ahead and take over this virtual stage.
So hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is David Olton, and today I'll be sharing with you my Toastmasters journey. And it's titled, It's Not Only Where I Am From, but Why I Am Here. As such, I recall it as if it was yesterday, a bright, sunny, tropical day, October 29th, 2002. The big mechanical bird taking off, soaring into the skies, leaving behind a dark green, almost pristine rainforest of Guyana. The whirring sound from the wings as the flaps retract, and the big bang in the belly as the wheels tuck in the ongoing ascension. I sat there thinking of the famous Chinese proverb, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. My mind drifts as I think of my soon-to-be homeland in the north. There is trepidation, there is fear, there is excitement. The myriad of stories I've heard go back and forth in my mind, only to be momentarily interrupted by my worst case fears of being homeless, cold, hungry in the winter. Slowly, as I drift off into a deep sleep, a mere 5.5 hours after, I hear stewardess announce safety instructions as the big bird slowly nears its destination. I gaze fascinated at what appears to be endless dazzling lights in the sky. I gleefully said to myself, I am here. It was 1 year since the 9/11 tragedy, and America was still in mourning and had commenced offenses in Afghanistan against the Taliban regime. The words of my parents echoed in my ears. Be focused and be careful. This is America. Settling into the Long Island suburbs was fascinating with the well-manicured lawns, fast cars, and what seemed to be like endless food in the local supermarket. I said to myself, this is the life. It was only a matter of time before I felt the need to earn my keep or pull my weight after almost 10 months of little success in getting a job. So I was eager to take on any job at that point in time. And had it not been for an old acquaintance and network of friends, I might not have gotten my first job, which was actually under the Mayor Bloomberg at that time. And there was an initiative to stop indoor smoking. My first job as an environmental technician, I remember it so clearly. It was $13.84 per hour. But was I excited to get that job with New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene? My excitement only lasted momentarily when I realized I could hardly afford to pay my share of rent and expenses after taxes. So I lived frugally, counting pennies, and I'll never forget the famous 50-cent sardine that I lived on for 7 consecutive days until my taste buds refused to further indulge. The realities of my homeland became more self-evident. I questioned myself, was I going to make it? I recall the words, be focused, be careful. As life would go, old acquaintance and a good reputation is worth more than gold. Opportunity struck, and a higher paying job doubled my salary. And I took on a new role at DP. I was then able to afford a better accommodation, a modest means, but at least a 1-bedroom apartment, and I could pay my bills. But this was not the end. I needed to maximize my potential. Education and certifications were the key. While prohibitive, it was still manageable if I budgeted correctly. My journey was far from over, and as it would go, it took more than a step, but I'm still on my path to 1,000 miles. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That was amazing. Let's take 60 seconds and everyone should find their chat box and they're welcome to give accolades to the speakers who presented today. And I'm going to ask if you would send me the message directly as to actually send it to Evelyn, who was your best table topics and your best speaker. And make sure you indicate what's what, so this way we'll be able to count them up. Go ahead and take 60 seconds.
Sorry, my computer's a little frozen.
Remember, you want to use the prompts. You excelled at blank, blank, blank. You may want to work on blank, 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 and to challenge yourself. Take another 10 seconds and then we're going to continue with the agenda. And Eula, since you're with us, I may ask you to help facilitate this next piece because we're going to be talking about you. So today's educational presentation was about speech organization and body language. And as you could tell, Eula did an excellent job demonstrating both of those in that she has a nice background, she's very presentable, right? And you can tell that even in her speech, it was organized with the beginning, middle, and end. And she told you ahead of time how she was going to use quotes. And let's just ask Eula herself, what did you do to organize your speech and to decide how you were going to present? Can you share with us some of your ideas about what you took to prepare?
Yes, I did. One thing I always do from my beginning until now, 3 major factors. 3. Most people say who, what, where, why, when, and all of that. I'm getting old and old people forget. So I boil it down to 3 things. My character, which means what am I speaking about? My conflict, why am I speaking about this? What happened? Or what do I want to share? And the resolution. Okay, now that we are at the end, do I want you to do something? Am I asking you to do something? So those are the 3 things that I remember. So it's the same thing as a body, a middle, and an end. But the most important thing is the character. I've even given a speech where my character was a car, was a 1978 American car that no longer exists. And that was the main character in my speech. What happened in that car between point A and point B? So knowing your character, knowing your conflict and what you want to share, why you want to share it, the purpose of doing it, and what is the end result, those things you will always remember. And the 3 points that I brought up is the major points that helped me so far and keeps giving me joy because I overcome my fear. I don't face everything and run now. I face everything and rise. I just enjoy myself. And then I have to believe and I need faith. Those 3 things you can't go wrong. That's what I use in thinking about what I was presenting today. And that will help each and every one of us. Just have faith and know that you can do it.
mention, because it's something I mentioned previously about how each of the speakers really thought well about who was the listener. And even how Eula mentioned it, you know, in her speaking, in terms of this is what she wants to help everyone else do. And so this is why she's doing it. Yes? Are there any questions for any of us in terms of speakers? I want to just do 2 shout outs. One to David for having something to actually show us, right? He actually came with the show and tell. That's an awesome, awesome experience. The sardines was an awesome touch. And it made me actually re-engage to be like, oh yeah, I would want to eat those ones some days either.
The only thing is sardines don't cost 50 cents anymore. And I thought when he started the story and the plane was taking off, he would say, oh, I'm leaving behind Bora and China and bacon stuff. And I'm like, and I totally get it. If you have ever been to Guyana and you've seen the supermarket, you would really get the full picture of what he was speaking of.
Yeah.
Great speech.
Go ahead, David.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And there's a piece to what Hopina did as well, in terms of making sure that everyone was with her. That is what we want to do as we move forward in our future speeches. So by now, everyone is given an icebreaker. The next speech in sessions 4, 5, and 6 will be Know Your Purpose. And so let's move on to preparing for session 4. So I'm going to share my screen for a minute, and then we will continue. So you should be able to see my screen at this moment. This is the main menu of Speechcraft. By now, all of us would have done the introduction, the choose a topic, prepare to present. Now we're going to, and we should have done body language. Now we're going to move forward to giving and receiving feedback, knowing your purpose, which is the next speech you're going to give, and how to evaluate. And then I'm going to ask you to throw in there the vocal variety and powerful words between sessions 5 and 6, okay? But for this sake, let's go ahead to giving and receiving feedback. So when you look at what giving and receiving feedback is about, it's really about creating a sandwich approach. You start with a positive, you mention what could use improvement, and you end with a positive. In this scenario, they use the quick lick of think, assess, be confident, and trust. And so think in terms of what is the feedback you're giving and how is it to be implemented. Assess what parts of it are suggestions and what parts of it are opinion, and what parts of it may be factual using evidence. And be confident when you deliver it, right? You want to make sure that you are clear and articulate and that your constructive comments can help improve. And then finally, trust. Trust yourself that whatever you share is helpful. Trust that you're doing the right thing and that hopefully that person can improve based on the information that you're giving to them. So I'm not going to go deeper into this because when you do your homework and you actually watch the presentations, you'll see it for yourself. But I do want to take a minute to look at not only feedback, but also knowing your purpose, because each of you will start with that as your next speech. I probably should take a minute to just ask Evelyn. Evelyn, were you able to tally the results for best speaker and best table topic?
Yes.
Hold on to them, just want to make sure you do it. Okay. Cool.
Okay, not Maurice, not for table topics. We didn't get enough votes, but for the icebreaker we did. So
Perfect.
not for table topics.
Perfect. And that's the same thing that happened last week. Don't worry about it. Maybe we won't do table topics. It's okay. I think it also depends on how long we do table topics. And because we only do table topics for such a short time period, it's hard to really tweak out someone. But I wanted to, where was I going with this? Oh, I was going to preparing for your next speech. So give me 2 seconds to set up my screen. Are there any questions before I proceed as I'm getting ready for this?
I don't have a question, but I have one last statement.
Sure.
And that's for Hopina.
Hi.
I hope I pronounce your name
Yes,
correctly.
Hopina, yes,
Yes, I love all the speeches, but I also like your vivid imagery that you brought into your story. You took us along on that journey, and that is something that's rare with a beginner. And I encourage you. You said you'd like to continue on the journey. It's the mindset. You will go far. Each and every person in this room have the ability to be a top-paying speaker, a great TED Talk speaker, a paid podcast speaker. The world is vast and the opportunities are great. It's just up to you. And that's where the mindset come in. So every single person that I heard today did a wonderful job, and I congratulate you, as well as your mentor, Maurice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Eula.
So when we look at knowing your purpose, right? I'm just going to focus here on this quick look because each of you will be preparing a speech. And so I need at least 3 or 4 people to go in session 4 and the remainder to go in session 5. And so the topic for your next speech is going to be something you choose, right? You're going to have to consider what is it that you want to share. And so I'm just going to read the slide. It says, consider defining a purpose before you write your speech. And that purpose can be anything that you choose, okay? You're choosing what you want the purpose of your speech to be. Oftentimes, just for the sake of ease, you might want to choose talking about your work and explaining what you do in average language, in English speaking terms that are non-technical and non-jargon. That could be fun. Choose the topic and purpose distinctly. Your topic may be the life cycle of an orchid, and the speech purpose inspiring your audience to live in the moment. I like how that's written, but I don't like what it says. The orchid, in the way that orchids are small buds and they really grow and develop. And so if I had to use David's story again as an example, he took us through a scenic journey. And for those that knew the West Indies and knew, it was very, very reminiscent. And for those of us that didn't, it was still very like, this is how it goes step by step by step by step. And so that orchid gets to bloom, and that's what I think about the stories, how we want to make them bloom from something small to something grand. Of course, we've been talking about organizing all along, and I think each of you have somewhat mastered the concept of starting with a beginning, a middle, and an end. And then when you do that, just know that you want to always think about, where do you want to take your listener? What's the end part you're looking for? Finally, planning, and you can choose to purposely share as you unfold. I think Teresa gave us some example of that. Teresa's story kind of unfolded, and it kind of had one layer after layer after layer in Teresa's story, Teresa's icebreaker, excuse me. So that's also another way to do it. Let me just take a minute to just see here, what are some of the things that you might want to know your purpose about in doing your second speech? Anyone, feel free to come off mute and share. All right, so now I've called to call on people. Hopina, what's your next speech going to be about, Hopina?
I want to talk about the role of the older woman. How you can the role of the older nurse. How you can capture the attention of the younger nurses so they won't have to make the same mistakes that we make. So then I would like to maybe leave a legacy of nursing from the past to now for them. Something in that light.
Thank you, thank you. Yes. Sharad, what about you?
I'm still thinking about it, but you know, I think, yeah, the most important thing I think will be like, you know, a lot of things that resonates among a lot of immigrants is the journey for an immigrant, right? Like a first generation immigrant, like, you know, myself. So maybe I will talk about that.
That's awesome. And I love when we bring in our own personal stories and we come talk through experience, because the experiences we had build such great character to where we're going. All right. So we're going to pause there. Although I know that each of you are itching and jumping to give your next speech, right? For those that did it today, thank you. Can I have a volunteer for table topics first? Let's do that. Do I have a table topics master volunteer for next session? All right, Rachel, thank you. All right, and now I need 3 people who are going to be our Know Your Purpose speakers for next session.
Sorry, Morris, I have to take it back because actually I will be on vacation next session, and I'll be trying to attend it from India. I don't know how successful I will be, so I'm so sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah.
So make sure you have the telephone number and the internet one, and then hopefully you can just jump on with your Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Do I have a second person perhaps to do table topics in case Rachel isn't there? So, and Rachel, so I'm still going to keep you, but if, as a backup, do I have a backup person just in case? So I'm also going to prepare.
Mm-hmm.
Backup person. All right, Teresa, thank you. No, Sharad, you did it already. We're going to give it to Therese. And Therese, I'll send you some sample questions to make it easy for you, okay? Everyone has the article, and actually there's going to be another article I'm going to send out in a few minutes that will actually help you purpose and prepare for your speech that's we're going to do next week. I need 3 volunteers. 3 volunteers. If not, I have to pick out.
All right, Maurice, you can't see me, but I'll volunteer.
Excellent. Thank you, Evelyn. I'm going to put you in number 1. Can I have?
Because I knew you were going to pick on me. That's why I'm volunteering.
Thank you, Evelyn. Do I have a second volunteer? Okay, so David's my second volunteer.
Sorry, did you say David?
I said David's my second volunteer.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And then Sharad, why don't we put you as well? This way, because you guys have had a week off between Evelyn and David, in that you didn't have to do the last two weeks prepare. So know that if you're not preparing, if you're not delivering your purpose speech next week, you're going to deliver in session 5, okay? And maybe in session 6, but I'm trying to do everyone in 4 and 5 with those next 2 speeches. I want to also say that we're going to move to the evaluation. And Evelyn, are you able to begin that for us? And in the evaluation, Evelyn, you should announce the winner for the best speech.
Okay. Sure. Thank you, Maurice. So in evaluating the meeting, I can say overall, the meeting was very good. It started exactly on time and it's going to end on time, which is very important. And Maurice did a very good job in explaining at the onset exactly what would happen in all the various transitions of the meeting. From the great answers we heard to table topics, to Eula's very invigorating speech, which will stay with me, especially fear part. I'm always going to think when I'm afraid, don't run, but rise up. From that invigorating message we heard today that I think will resonate with all of us in the coming weeks, to the wonderful icebreakers we heard by Teresa, Hopina, and David. They were all very inspiring and wonderful speakers, whether they, as Teresa did, had her story unfold, or whether it was more at the onset, kind of whether the speaker just came out with the story at the beginning or whether it unfolded. It was very good. Maurice did an excellent job in explaining what would happen and assigning roles at the next meeting. And we ended exactly on time. The winner of the icebreaker is Therese. And as I mentioned earlier, we don't have a winner of table topics as of yet. Thank you.
Thank you. And Therese, I will be sending you a best speaker ribbon similar to what Rachel has, and we will try to make sure we can get it on the mobile app. I'm not sure if you can do virtual backgrounds on the mobile app, but we can try anyway. Cool. Eula, would you like to share some closing words before we leave? Yes, thank you.
Of course. I also have a word for Therese. Personal stories always make the best stories. And never forget, young people and teenagers, they know everything. They're always right. We don't know anything because we weren't ever that age, you know. So you should have trillions of stories. But I love being here today. I like the warm reception. I think you guys are doing a fantastic job. I love all this, everything I heard. I love the entire meeting, and thank you for inviting me. And I would probably visit again. Thank you so much. I enjoyed myself, and I hope you also enjoyed yourself. You're all becoming fantastic Toastmasters. And we have fun. We learn. I'm not positive if you were told the purpose that person that founded Toastmaster, Ralph Smedley, he said that we all learn in a happier environment. And it's true. That was since 1924. We're almost at 2024. And we still, I think we're having more fun today than he had then. So he said those profound words, but wasn't sure. But thank you. I enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, everyone, I am going to bring us to a close, and we reconvene in 2 weeks, same place, same time, 8:31, Tuesday from 1 to 2. And we'll have Rachel doing table topics. If Rachel's not able to join, Therese will follow up. And we'll hear from Evelyn, David, and Chirag with the Know Your Purpose speech. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.